Welcome to the Captured Conversations podcast. I am your host, Haley, and your co host, Apollo, is currently asleep because I am recording this a little earlier than I would usually record a podcast episode. So he is still drowsy in bed right now. So I didn't feel like trying to invite him in here because we all know he just leaves me anyways. But if this is your first time on this podcast, hi, hello. I am a portrait and wedding photographer. On this podcast, we talk about everything to kind of do with that, whether it's wedding photography, just photography in general, small business stuff, just wedding stuff that doesn't have to do with the industry side, other vendors, etc. And it's a chill podcast. If you're watching, you could see I'm in my Mickey Mouse sweater with my Mickey Mouse blanket. I've got leggings on. We are in my living room. It's just chill podcast. But yeah. So I figure we kind of jump right into the episode. This episode did kind of come a little later because after the new year we got sickish. I was not I don't think we were sick, like contagious sick, but I was so congested. I would have been talking like this. Nobody wants to hear that. I'm still a tiny bit congested, but I was really only congested for 4 days. But then my husband got congested and sick. So it was just not gonna happen. So, yeah, so now I'm back. And let's look at some of the stories I've picked out today. So we are first starting over on Facebook. Oh, sorry. Let me know down in the comments if I just made you yawn. I'm a contagious yawner. Okay, so, oh yeah, and what we do here on the podcast, if you're new, is we read a lot of Facebook and Reddit stories. If you have a story you'd like to submit, you can submit that to my email that'll be down below. But yeah, okay, so first we're starting on Facebook, and a reminder, when we're on Facebook, I'm not going to read people's names. I'm just going to do initials, or say OP, as in original poster. Okay, so, this is on the Law Tog photography group, on Facebook, and the group posted a prompt that says, "What is the craziest text you've received from a client?" So I don't often give my personal number out to clients. Every now and then, if it's something we've got to book, someone reaches out Wednesday for a session they need Friday, I'm probably not going to mess around with email. I'm here's my number. Let's call. Let's text. I'm more likely to do Instagram's my favorite. Facebook is great. Email is pretty standard. And then if I'm doing virtual calls, Zoom is what I'll use. But alrighty, so let's look and see what some of these craziest messages people have received. JK says, "Just because you think your job is over doesn't mean you're done working for me." I don't know what that means. Let's see if she says anything else about it. Everyone's like, "I need the context." Yeah, I really feel like I need some context around what the heck this person is meaning by this. Because that's pretty rude. Pretty freaking rude. I'm not saying with this person said any more context, but yeah. Let's see. Wait, hold on. She may have said it was apparently a small elopement. I want to know what else did they want this photographer to do? Were they wanting to have photos continued edited? Were they wanting okay, here we go. Here's the context. So the bride was pregnant and eloping, and she asked me to edit out her bump. Yeah, that's kind of, no thanks. I get it, but no, we're not, if that's not a service you offer, it's not a service you offer. Because at that point, she's wanting to, I'm so sorry. I also sometimes yawn when I'm like nervous, like I'm having to perform in some way, like give a speech or something. I really don't know why. Oh yeah, I also didn't address the elephant in the room. I forgot. So as you can see, my Christmas tree is still up, and I'm gonna say why after this story. So yeah, that's kind of crazy though. Like, you're not done working for me. And like, after the photos are delivered in the way that you promised, then anything else is like an additional service. And if you don't offer that service, then you don't offer that service. But anyways, so about my Christmas lights, there's a lot of people out there that put their trees up early, and people seem to have socially accepted that. I take mine down late. This started a few years ago. And once I really like got my own space and started putting up a tree and stuff like that, this time of year tends to be kind of hard for me. Stuck inside a lot. It's dark. It's dreary. It's cold, and just having the warm Christmas lights really helps me get through the season. So I hope y'all will accept that you're going to be seeing some Christmassy. To me, they just turn into winter decorations. Like I really, which I still need to do because actually my Christmas stuff is still out. It's just kind of like piled up in a corner, um, or still hanging. But um, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, I just kind of becomes a part of just my winter decorations essentially. And then once spring kind of comes around, really like sometime at the end of February is usually when I'll take it all down and I'll bring my spring stuff out for March, like after Valentine's Day, somewhere in there. But anyways, okay. I just wanted to like clarify that because y'all are probably like, your tree is still up and it is January. Okay, let's go on to another comment. Um, DR says, just because you took the images doesn't give you copyright. I paid for them, so they're mine. Yeah, this is just a common misconception. Um, yeah, it's just common misconception. That's not how copyright works, unfortunately, for some people who don't understand. I'm not going to read that one. That one's a little much. I'm not going to read that one either. Some people need to learn manners. Manners, manners, manners. Okay, here is a pretty funny one. So, EM is a boudoir photographer. And if you don't know what that is, I think that's how you say it. It's like lingerie pictures. And the client said, Hi. The client says, can I wear my see-through bottoms and you just edit out my crotch? I don't think my partner would like it. No, I wouldn't like, no. Someone commented to that and says, I read this out loud. And my husband was like, their partner doesn't like their crotch? Weird. And wear different bottoms if you don't want your crotch to show. Your idea creates a problem to an issue you don't have. Yeah. The whole point. Yeah, I do not understand. I do not. Oh my gosh. This one is crazy. So JC says, I had a groom text me 6 months later and tell me that they're getting divorced and wanting to know if I would go out with him. That'd be really weird if that happened to me because my husband comes with me to most things I do. But that is kind of hilarious and weird. And I feel like part of me would want to tell the bride, but I probably wouldn't. Or would I? I don't know. Would you contact the bride and be like, hey, but I guess they're gonna get divorced. He's free to do whatever he wants. I don't know. I do not know. Okay, I feel like this story is almost so crazy, it has to be fake. But who knows? So BW says, I was a brand new photographer. This was probably 10 years ago. I charged like $50 for sessions. Phone call in the middle of the night from a client I had just met and did a nighttime and did a nightmare of Christmas mini sessions with. Still one of my worst experiences to this day. Of course, I slept through the phone call and text immediately followed. Here's the text. We are getting a divorce. I need you to testify for me in court, from the wife. OP says, what? Immediately blocked. And then a few days later, a friend request from the husband. Nope, you're immediately blocked too. That feels like so crazy. I want to say it's fake. Um, yeah. I'm like, what? And they're like, why would they want you to testify? And she's like, I wanted the same thing. The only thing I knew about them was how chaotic they were as a whole. I don't think they wanted me there. Yeah, probably wouldn't help. Oh my gosh. Okay, this one's kind of funny. I could so see this happening. CM says, mine isn't crazy, but I had a client complain that she felt rushed during the session after she showed up an hour late. Yeah, you're going to be rushed, home dog. Yeah. NG says, I had a similar once. A client was mad that I cut her session short by 45 minutes or cut her session short because she was 45 minutes late. I had another session booked after her. In her mind, she thought I only booked one session per day in case something happened. Even if you only had one session, that's all the time she paid for. Now, have I done that? Yes. Like, I have clients who work with me a bunch. Yeah, I have, definitely done that. But like stayed over, I mean, but like, what if it had been like a sunset session and it was like dark, you know? Crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay, RW says, single dad client. I'd done multiple sessions for him and his daughter, so I guess some like father-daughter sessions. He then books a boudoir session. So boudoir is like guy boudoir. I don't really know what all goes into that. Um, but yeah. And then after he asks me out to dinner via my personal Facebook, and that the set and tells me that the session was just a preview of what's to come, he persisted for a few weeks and never contacted me again. Wonder why. That's horrible. That's harassment. That definitely feels like harassment. And I feel like the idea of like that's what's to come. If you're thinking that, like, oh, I did this boudoir session. I kind of like this girl when I ask her on a date. Those are inside thoughts. You don't say that part out loud. Even if you're like, oh, yeah, at least she knows because she did those pictures. We don't think that. And even if like that was a part, like, oh, I'm going to book this session and see if like she's into me. That's weird. But like still, inside thoughts need to stay inside. Oh my gosh, I would lose my mind at this one. So RJ says, this is what the client said. I saw you out last night. Shouldn't you be more focused on getting our wedding gallery done? 3 days after their huge sneak peek. Or sorry, 3 days after their wedding with a huge sneak peek. No, actually, did you know after you shoot weddings, you're not allowed to go anywhere? You have to sit at home in front of a computer. You get like legally required bathroom breaks and food breaks if you're lucky. That's all you get to do. Just kidding. If you do that, don't do that. That, yeah. People are like, that's ridiculous. I, I'd love to just reply, no. Yeah, for real. That's a no for me, dog. Oh my goodness. Okay, I just like skimmed through. This is hilarious. So BE says, I had delivered images to a client. She called me super upset, accusing me of changing her face shape, nose, eyes, chin, etc. I'm a photographer and not a digital artist. I wouldn't even know how to do any of that. I told her so, proceeded to schedule a follow-up appointment where she could come over and go over every image with me. Sorry, I like took my ring off and now I can't get it back on. There we go. Okay, anyways. Um, I told her, let's see. I told her so. We proceeded to schedule a follow-up appointment where she could come over and go over every image with me. That's more than I'd do. Then I called my photographer friend, sent them to gallery. Everyone was puzzled by her response, and my day was ruined as I hold myself to a high standard. I've been in the industry for 20 years, no issues. No issues. 7 hours later, I got a text from her. Oh, sorry, I almost said OP's name. B, I'll just say, I want to cancel that appointment. I am so sorry. These images look amazing. I made a mistake when viewing them while I was stoned, so it was all me and not you. I was so exhausted by it all that I laughed in the moment. What a relief. Okay, terrifying like moment. I would probably just send over some raws, which I don't usually do, to be like, bro, this is your face. I don't I don't know what to tell you. Um, but yeah, it's pretty funny. Um, HB says, a friend looked at me and said, it's just a simple click of a button. I don't see why you would charge so much. I'm not trying, I'm so much, to try to help you get your name out. It's not like you have to do any editing. Let's just say I walk away before things got heated. Her words still to this day stuck with me. I lost all respect for her that day. She shares my stuff, and that's about it. Yeah, that would be super heartbreaking. Like, I don't think I've really, I mean, maybe some people have said, like, what's so difficult about it? And no, taking a photo is something anybody can do. Taking a good photo is something a lot of people can do. Taking a good photo on a high quality camera with knowing poses, changing environments, angles, best camera settings specifically, the experience, and then don't even get me started on the editing. That's what makes a photographer. And then if we're talking about weddings, then like how quick the environment changes. A wedding I shot a couple weeks ago really put my knowledge to the test of my camera with really, really quick. It went from like a dark entrance to a really bright, like, surprise entrance thing they did. And I was like flipping settings, and it was crazy. I would lose my crap. HD says, hey, I know your dad just died, so your turnaround time is delayed, but is there any way you can get me my gallery since I saw you out the other night? Excuse me? Go away. Go far away. That's so insensitive. Okay, let's switch to the next thread. This is still on Facebook. I'm gonna get a little sip of my drink. Okay. Alrighty. So this is from a like brides to be Facebook page. And an anonymous member posted, I have my first wedding dress try on soon. Any advice? So some of you may or may not know. So I started my business in 2018. I started specializing in weddings in 2020. It is 2025. It's literally been about 5 years. I'm sorry, I need to stretch. Like I said, it's early in the morning. Well, it's kind of not as early now, but this is still early for me. Um, okay, so I started specializing in weddings in 2020, and so it's been 5 years of me encountering wedding dresses. On top of that, in 20, 21, 22, 22, I think. I don't really remember. My stepmom and her sister bought a bridal shop, and so I get even more wedding dress related things, more wedding stuff from that. And my grandmother was a seamstress, so she still is a seamstress, just not taking as many clients now. But she did a lot of wedding stuff. So weddings have been a part of my life for a long time in different capacities. And so I feel like and I've also gotten married myself, so I went through the whole try on process. Things I'd suggest: wear nude underwear. Um, that's not like a total must, but I definitely suggest it. And if you have a bra that like the straps pop off, I'd suggest wearing that, or just a strapless bra in general. Um, I think that's what most people do, is just wear a strapless bra. And a lot of dresses you don't need a bra for, but some you do and you kind of want to have it. Um, And then I would say, even if the dress looks ugly on the hanger, it may be worth trying on because, and even if it's ugly on a mannequin, there is just something to be said about different body styles, different heights, different weights, different complexions, that can make a dress pop or not. Also, let the person in the store like pin you up, which that's something I didn't know they did when I got my dress. And it was like 2020 when I got my dress. So I had only been doing weddings for a year. I wasn't super familiar with the industry or anything about it really. I did not know how involved the person at the store was going to be. And I know it probably doesn't seem like it, but I can be a really shy and just awkward person sometimes. Maybe that part's obvious. Um, but I just felt really overwhelmed when the person kind of came in. It was like, try these on, and like, oh, here, let me fix that for you, and was just doing all of this. And I really just kind of wanted her to go away. Um, but I didn't understand how important that was. And that's just kind of maybe a lack of knowledge on my end. I'm used to when I go shop at the mall, the person says like, "Oh, can I get you anything? Like, do you need anything?" I'm like, "No," and they leave you alone. It was not that in a bridal store, and I totally understand why. But back then I didn't. That's also just kind of like a something to note. Um, some dresses that I tried on, I thought I would absolutely love and I hated, and some dress that I thought I would hate, I liked. Um, I thought my dress looked really boring, um, but it didn't. And if I remember, I will put a picture of my wedding dress here now. I wonder if I remembered. Probably not, honestly. I probably forgot. But honestly, if you want to see it, there's pictures of it on my like Facebook and Instagram. You have to find them, but they're all there. Um, But yeah, let's see. Oh, so another advice, some of the dresses that have like the boho kind of dresses that have like a lot of like lacy detail around the edges. So I loved one of those. I wanted that. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is it. I love it." And then my grandmother, who's a seamstress, was with me. She was like, "Haley, I don't think you're gonna want that dress." And I was like, "Why?" And I guess you can probably order it like in your height and stuff and it would be better, but I was on a budget. Um, and I wanted to buy off the rack that day. And she was like, "Well, that dress is way too long for you, and you have to like cut off like the bottom lace to take it up, and sometimes they don't look right. They're really hard to alter." She was doing my alterations, also wanted it to be easy on her too. If I had really wanted it, she would have definitely made something work. She'd done it before, but she just kind of gave me that advice, like it may not look how you think it's gonna look later. And I was like, okay. So I didn't go with that one, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I went with something more traditional that I absolutely love. Um, but yeah, let's see what other wedding dress try on. Let's see what the comments say. Um, CN says, go with some inspo, but keep an open mind about everything. Your yes dress could be the complete opposite of your inspo. Don't take a lot of people. Too many opinions can be overwhelming. Don't settle or feel rushed. Um, Relax and have fun. Trust your consultant and your gut. You'll know when you know. Okay, no. I hate that last line. You'll know when you know. I was just like, yeah, I like this dress. And I had a lot of anxiety about it after because everyone's like, oh, I just knew the moment that I put it on. I just knew. Kind of like the whole love at first sight thing. Like, I knew the moment I was going to marry them. I knew the moment it was my dress. I never had like any of those grand, like, oh my gosh, this is the moment. I tried on the dress. I said, yeah, I like this one. Let's get this dress. And I got that dress. And then I was really anxious about it for a really long time because like what if that wasn't the one? What if I should have tried on more? And no, it was definitely like the dress, you could say. Were there probably other dresses that I'd like? Yeah. But every time I go to my stepmom's bridal shop, I'm like, oh, I love this dress. And I'm like, oh, it's almost exactly like my dress. So like it kind of reevaluated it. That's not a word. I don't know. It made it better. But yeah. Um, but yeah, try on any and everything for sure. DL says, from what I've seen through my wedding planning on the internet, you'll wear your hair and makeup and undergarments as close to what you'll want to wear for your wedding day. Yeah, I kind of did something similar. Like, I did curl my hair and had it like these front pieces kind of pulled back like this, which is kind of the style I wanted for my wedding day, and it is what I went with. I mean, there's plenty of my wedding pictures around here. Um, Obviously, I didn't know like exactly the makeup I was going to go with. I ended up going with like a dark lip that I absolutely am so glad I went with because I like lick off my lipstick a lot and it held all day. I need to figure out what that was because that was amazing. Um, but yeah, I definitely would say, yeah, and wear like loose clothes, like clothes, like maybe a button up shirt so you don't mess your hair up when you're taking it off, things like that. People saying trying on all styles, don't let anyone, okay, so AA says, don't let anyone pressure you into a dress. If you don't like it and everyone else does, it's okay. Just keep looking. Yeah, absolutely. So when I went for my bridal appointment, who came was my grandmother's, my mother, my mother-in-law, and two of my bridesmaids because one of them lives several states away. I think that was everybody. I did not feel overwhelmed at all. Um, Maybe sometimes a little awkward because it's like a lot of attention, and I really don't like clothes shopping. I've never liked it. I'm way better about a lot of that stuff now than I was even then, and that was five years ago. Well, really, it was like December of 2020, so 4 years ago. Um, but yeah, and if you want a small group, and you can also, if you don't want a lot of people in the bridal shop, going to like small businesses can help with that. And you may also say like, hey, um, you know, when is your least busy time? You may be able to call and say, I'm a really anxious person. I don't want like a ton of people in the store. I get like you're a store, you have to book other appointments, you have to be open. But like, when is your least busy time? That maybe I could come by. And that may be like, hey, like Wednesday at 10 a.m. or something. But if that's something that's important to you, definitely go for that. Okay. I think that's a great question. Great question to ask. Okay. So some of you may or may not know, so I've got like my photography life and I've got my Haley life and then I've got my other educated life. I have my master's in clinical mental health counseling. And this next thread is going to kind of lean on that a little bit. So I'm actually going to bring up some of my like resources that I use at work. Um, and I may like toss a few anxiety coping skills in there for everybody's anxious these days. And so I thought this was a really great time to talk about some of those. So, oh, sorry. This is over on Reddit on r/wedding photography. This is from Chick That Clicks. That's kind of cute, like click cameras. Guys, I guess I'm just looking for someone who can relate to this. I've been doing weddings for over 15 years, and sometimes for no apparent reason, I have an absolute anxiety attack beforehand. It's like unbearable to the point where I cannot even engage with my family or anything. I'm so stuck. Anyone else ever get this? I mean, little jitters are normal, but I have been full on crying this morning. I don't know why I'm like this. Tell me I'm not alone. Okay. Anxiety can manifest itself and look like so many different things. So let's just like say if this was like a client of mine coming to me and saying this, what I would probably do, I mean, I'd probably do a lot of different things. But I have like these coping skills that I really like to go through. So much of anxiety is not about when it's happening, it's what's happening beforehand. Um, and sorry, I'm trying to figure out like where exactly I want to go with this. It's about management sometimes. So things like breathing exercises, which like box breathing, which if you're not familiar with that, that's where I usually pick the number 5. So I do like 5 seconds through the nose, you hold your breath for 5 seconds, you breathe out through your mouth for 5 seconds, you hold your breath for 5 seconds, and then you do that. So it's like, oh, I would breathe in, but honestly, I'm still a little congested, so I don't think anybody and their mama wants to hear me box breathe right now. There's plenty of videos on YouTube though. Another thing is like guided meditations. And that's not like you see on like TV and stuff where people are like, that's not what I'm talking about. It's like the video may say something like playing nice pretty piano music or earth sounds like water and stuff like that. And it's like, get yourself in a comfortable position and relax. Close your eyes and begin to breathe in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, hold for 5, and kind of walk you through that. And then it may do some just instruction like clear your mind, let all your anxieties melt away. If thoughts come to you, tell them to go away, and they need to not be present right now. I don't have a script on me. Some of them might be like, imagine you're in a forest and you're walking by a stream and the leaves are falling in the water and all your problems are landing on a leaf and they are floating down the stream out of your way. Um, there are Christian ones, if you're a Christian, that talk about God and anxiety, and I found those really helpful because I am a Christian. Um, but yeah, those can be really helpful to do in management. So if I'm seeing someone, okay, you get anxious, sounds like maybe the day before a wedding, I'd say the week of a wedding, maybe once a day, twice a day, a couple times a week, whatever you feel like you can do and might be helpful. Do some guided meditation, something to help just chill your body, to bring down your like heightened levels to try to prepare you for that. Um, I also, well, we'll get into grounding later. I love journaling. Maybe um, the week of the wedding, you start journaling. And what I love, there's this like app on my phone. It's called like One Day, I think, or Day One. So it's a journaling app. But since it's on my phone and you type, I can also voice text. So I can talk out what I want to journal um, instead of just like typing it or writing it, which is helpful. And I would probably say journal something about like, hey, I'm preparing for this wedding. I understand that I usually get anxious. This time, these are the things I'm trying. A lot of times we feel anxious because we don't have control of a situation. Um, and weddings can feel very out of control. So yeah, I would probably do that. Um, let's see, what else? Sometimes say like you feel anxious about like, I don't know, I do this every wedding. I get in my car, I see my camera's there. I have literally stopped on my way to a wedding to make sure my camera's there just because I'm so anxious. So you can maybe create a checklist like, okay, things I need to do before a wedding, and maybe sometimes checking those things off your list might help you to feel like, okay, I've got control. I am prepared. I have done all the things I need to do. So if you're having a panic attack, there's a few things you can do. One of them's called a tapping exercise, and I'm not going to walk out through the whole thing, but essentially, and there's videos on YouTube about it. I'm sure. I think I probably have some linked in this little thing I'm reading. Um, let's see. Yes. Okay. What you're eventually going to do, you're just going to sit and you're going to start by like tapping your head, and it's very rhythmic. Then you go to your cheeks, chin, shoulders, collarbones, stomach, hips, thighs, knees, shins, feet. You could go down your arms too, like collarbone, arms. I usually do that. Then go down the body. What that does, it's like a body scan. It makes you check in with your whole body. It's also very rhythmic and it helps you um, it's mesmerizing almost. But it also causes you to think about exactly what you're doing. Which can be helpful if you're like feeling really anxious, even if you're not having a panic attack. It can help if you're having a panic attack. Um, what else? Um, oh yeah. Okay, so this is called the tip skill. TIP. And essentially we're talking about one of them, which is temperature. And temperature can be really helpful when experiencing a lot of anxiety. And so if you're like having a panic attack, one thing you can do, go to your fridge and hold ice. And some people will put an ice cube in their mouth, but just make sure if you're having a panic attack, you're not going to choke on it. Also, make sure you're not going to hurt yourself holding the ice. It's very cold. And the temperature can help your body. Your body has to like focus on that now instead of on what you're panicking on, and it can help you to calm down. And that can be if you're like super angry, if you're super sad, any extreme emotions. Some people also use like sour stuff. like they'll keep warheads with them. So if they start like panicking, they'll pop one in their mouth. And so all they're focusing on is like how sour that candy is. I'm not saying that these are going to fix your problem, but those are some things. Definitely, this could be something you could work on in therapy with a therapist. I am not your therapist. These are just some skills that anybody can look up and learn. I just happen to know them because I also am a therapist and I'm an anxious girly myself, and so I use these. But yeah, let's see what anybody else says. Rose All Day 8 says, while I don't get full on panic attacks, I do get anxiety and super irritable and kind of mean to my family the morning of a wedding if it's been a while. Like the first wedding of the season, just starting your routine. Focus on your gear, getting your gear together, packing snacks. It will fade. People are saying not alone. Yeah, people are sharing their anxiety stories. Kevin7EOZ says, very stressful no matter how long you're doing it. Always the same feeling the morning of. Yeah, I don't get super anxious. I get more anxious the night before, but and I really don't get very anxious before weddings. I'm more like, oh, I don't want to, like, I want to go. Like, once I'm there, I'm like having a ball. But like the idea of going, I'm like, I want to sleep and lay in bed on this Saturday and go have fun, not work. But then I get there and I'm like, oh wait, my work is fun. Um, I don't even know. Flubin Flubstubes. I don't know how to say this person's name. I have this on occasion too, not every wedding, just some are worse than others. I recommend seeing a therapist if you haven't already. If you're an anxious person like me, you can induce triggers in the days leading up to the wedding to reduce them from happening. That is exactly what I was just talking about. That is exactly. Okay. I think that's gonna be all the story. I had one more picked out, but we might just save that for another day. Um but yeah, I do hope that y'all enjoyed this episode of the podcast. If you want to, like, tell me your own story, please leave it. Like, you can comment it down below if you want, or you can send it to me in an email. I would love to read your stories, whether wedding stories, like from your own wedding, for wedding you've been to, or just photography stories. If you have questions, if you have suggestions for videos, please let me know. But yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to announce. Happy 2025. I'm really excited for this year. Like super excited actually. Got lots of friends that are getting married, and shooting their weddings, and I'm so excited for it. What else? I'm trying to think. What else is there? I can't think. Okay, let's see. We need an emoji. If you made it this far in the video, ooh, first stretch with me. But if you made it this far in the video, comment down below a snowflake emoji because it is so cold. And the day I am recording this, we are supposed to be getting like 6 inches of snow tomorrow. Maybe I'll post a video about that. I'd love to post like a little vlog style video in the snow. If it's safe, I'm hoping that I'll have a friend come to my house and we're going to do some pictures in the snow, which would be so awesome. I've never been able to do that because I live in Georgia or Tennessee. I live like in that area. I'm Chattanooga, so. But yeah, okay. Let's see. Anything else? I don't think so. Alrighty, well, I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.